What comes to mind when you think of South Korea and China? Maybe K-pop and TikTok? Yeah, today we are talking about something related. Hi, welcome to my podcast. Imagine it's 2025, Rosé of Blackpink and Bruno Mars' Apart is topping charts. K-pop groups are giving concerts in LA almost every week, but there's a huge market where K-pop artists have been banned for almost 10 years. Fans can't legally buy K-pop productions in local stores. It is China. Legally, this applies to mainland China only and don't extend to Hong Kong and Macau. This unique Chinese cultural phenomenon is called the 限韩令. Korean with ban. I would rather define it as a contemporary conspiracy theory because it's more of an issue of communication than an actual objective ban. It is not tied to religious differences, trade protectionism, or a clear diplomatic code war. There were no official documents, laws, or press releases. Instead, it feels like a sudden shared consensus born from self-censorship among business and ordinary citizens under authoritarian system. The Korean wave band's media discussion and online trends show that authoritarian societies, with their close information and long-term psychological pressure, are ideal for conspiracy theories. As George points out in Propaganda and Persuasion, every new form of mass media, from newspaper to TV and nowadays social media, is rapidly adopted for propaganda purposes. For Chinese media, outlets and influencers, even without direct government instructions or funding, often engage self-motivated propaganda to justify a confusing policy rather than questioning or opposing it. Expressing loyalty to the government is the safest path, and conspiracy theories are the easiest way to stir up resonant emotions. As a decade-long hatred of a neighboring country, in this situation, the public is both the victim and a collaborator in propaganda. And critical disinformation studies would notice that disinformation narratives build up pre-existing ideologies. The media might just be rearranging and coloring public sentiment rather than directly shaping it. They are just repeating thoughts that people have already had. Next, I will explain what the Korean wave ban is, what people in China have experienced, and how these thoughts and actions interact with the social system. Korean wave ban started in 2016 when China-South Korea relations tensed over South Korea's THAAD, that anti-missile system. China limited Korean artists' concerts, TV shows, and entertainment cooperation, and stopped Korean companies for investing in China and traveling. Yet, the Chinese authorities deny ever have a Korean wave ban, insisting they've always encouraged cultural exchange. They thought that triggered public anger in China, so it leads to anti-Korean feelings and a public boycott itself. The rumors of the ban began in July 2016, and the media noticed performances weren't being approved after September, and an influencer shared screenshots of internal notices from a TV station banning commercial with Korean celebrities. Huang Qiyu's October 29th performance were the last Korean concert in China until now. After that, China stopped paying for Korean-Chinese collaborations or Korean variety shows imported by China and engaged in widespread plagiarism. Despite protests from Korean media and production Korean companies at venues like Festival de Cannes. Nothing has changed. The sudden ban without any clear announcement immediately impacted the industry and audiences. But the real tension played out online because Chinese traditional media, newspapers and TV are mostly government propaganda tools representing the official view. They avoided reporting on Korean concert and drama constellations being seen as government's position. Information spread through whispers and rumors. As a result, discussions about reasons for the ban had to happen in the shadows. Lacking reliable information, conspiracy theories quickly took root and spread in online communities. China believed that threatened its securities and responded with countermeasures. Consequently, many conspiracy theories elevated the restrictions on Korean artists to a matter of national security strategy. They claimed South Koreans' pro-US stance was a subtle attack on China, using the slogan like "No idol before the nation." They supported boycotting with protecting national security. Quickly gained approval and spread online. The media outlets that have to follow some ethical guidelines. Those who create conspiracy theory on social media use emotionally charged content. Things designed to provoke strong reactions like fear, anger, or pride. This reflects what Asmolov called the effects of participatory propaganda, which can serve as a tool for strengthening of authoritarian regimes. Governments can directly monitor or indirectly encourage participatory activities to identify dissenters while encourage citizens to promote state narratives. China uses the latter approach more often, or perhaps uses more subtle method. For example, simply not filtering out, but rather retaining relevant conspiracy theory information, while blocking and deleting content that opposes the government's position can create a unified public opinion trend. While it's hard to understand the cause and effect relationship between concerts and wars, but banning Korean artists become a symbolic resistance. When the sentiment is wrapped in nationalism, it seems more justified, even passionate. As Brady writes, and emotion shapes the diffusion of moralized content in social networks, moral emotional language had a larger impact on diffusion within ideological in-groups compared to out-groups. Then, anyone who questions this logic, even if their comments are not deleted, gets labeled selfish or unpatriotic, and their arguments are dismissed by attacking their motives. Actually, on November 22nd, 2017, China and South Korea's foreign ministries released a joint statement that South Korea has no intention of harming China's security. After this, relations gradually warmed, but the ban remained. Any events involving Korean artists still face report from public, leading to repeated cancellation of music festivals. Some fan-sign events are on cruise ships for quick escapes or book multiple venues ready to bus attendees to another city. More seriously, the ban in humans' mind has never been lifted. The government not only allows influencers to continue using national security to stir up anti-Korean sentiment, but also permits the spread of the idea like Korea is a nation of thieves. They heavily promoted works of Korean pop culture appropriating Chinese traditional culture and listed the relevant artists as insulting China. This decade-long cultivation has created a generation of Chinese youth immersed in anti-Korean sentiment. Yet, like most young people around the world, they are K-pop fans. This creates a weird cultural landscape. Chinese teenagers develop travel habits to watch K-pop K-pop concert in South Korea or other neighboring regions, while still needing to maintain a patriotic mindset of resisting Korean singers performing in China, creating a very fractured sense of identity. However, in spring 2025, there's a new hope for lifting. A K-pop Dream Concert World Tour is scheduled for Hainan Province in China in September. This tour is expected to be a symbolic event for diplomatic thought. However, the Korean way ban is an unwritten ban, which makes this no clear indication of it easing. This is a result of authoritarian nature of Chinese society. Well-meaning policies are extremely vague, leaving room for conspiracy theories because there's never been a ban in text. The boundary of enforcement are also extremely blurry. It all depends on the level of self-censorship and how much risk companies are willing to take. It's like Chinese saying of one eye open, one eye closed. You never know when they will open or close. Local governments might allow it for revenue or shut it down to show loyalty. There's no clear rules. You can only guess. Subordinates try to guess the leader's intentions, and superiors tested the bottom lines of the public. It's a guessing game between the government and the people. Doesn't that sound awful? There's no law to rely on, no written proof, so you can never be sure if you are doing right or wrong, and there's no way to appeal. Meanwhile, on Chinese social media, K-pop fans are mostly saying, "Lock the K-pop forever. Don't come, I will go to Korea by myself. No idols before the nation. If you harm China's interest, question China's position, and still want to earn China's money through idol culture, you are dreaming. Wow, how to report? I will do. And boycott Korean thieves." After years of propaganda, the public discourse has long become an echo chamber. As Kosas mentions in Debating in Echo Chambers, many studies often focus only on the media effects while ignoring the individual agency in communication and conspiracy theory networks. People seek group identification and emotional satisfaction in the same viewpoints, and they don't want to investigate an objective evaluation. Given the sensitive geopolitics in East Asia, it is no shock that cultural exchange is affected. But when you try to understand the causes and consequences of Korean way ban, it's confusing. The most relevant facts suggest that threatened China, so there was an artist boycott. But US artists aren't restricted. Other Korean trade is normal. This specific, illogical ban has worked for a decade. And the impact on communication goes beyond the ban itself. The media and social media actively hype it up as patriotic propaganda, fueling anti-Korean sentiment. What makes it unique is that this echo chamber is harder to break because of the authoritarian environment it was born in. State propaganda's one correct voice is easily accepted, like a learned fear response in people who've lived in this system for a long time. I can feel this helplessness because I, as a K-pop fan, am a particularly direct victim. A friend of mine, she had a supporting role in a Chinese-Korean TV series. Suddenly, in September of 2016, the whole production just stopped it. She lost her chance at being an actress and had to completely change her career pace forever. What's even more unsettling than the sudden restrictions is how suddenly they end. They have no credibilities. They can deny the end of the Korean wave ban today and then leave it tomorrow. Having lived through COVID period in China, I don't find this surprising at all. That's exactly what happened in the winter of 2023. After a long period of daily COVID testing, it was suddenly cancelled overnight. You never know when a long-term regulation will suddenly disappear. But what you know is you will never get notification. It just vanishes, and then you are not allowed to discuss it. It's like it never happened. That's how authoritarian society are. Places where miracle can happen at any time. From this perspective, it's easy to understand the role of people. They have no agency, so embracing conspiracy theories is easier than accepting the reality. You are in a situation where you have to keep doing something, whether you know it's useless or not. We know it's useless. All those who demand a permanent ban on Koreans might believe it serves for some purpose, but we all end up in the same place. So it's easier to let conspiracy theories justify the absurdity. That's all. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye.